All right, the last time I sat down, oh wait, it is Sunday, August 11th, 7:19, and I actually just finished filming a video about It Ends With Us that I'm going to edit probably after I finish filming this video. But the last time I sat down to film a book video, I was sad. But today that's not the case. I'm not sad. I just want to get this done before I go back to work because I have so many of my friends like you, Issa, who's probably watching this, and Shelby, who I keep meaning to, like, Issa texted me, she was like, oh my god, I want to call, like, let's talk on the phone, and I was like, yeah, oh my god, let's, I'm like super free, not busy, and then I just like forget, or not that I forget, I will just like literally bed rot, and I'm just like, nobody should see me in this state, and so then I like don't call my friends. But I know you guys like to know what I'm reading and hear my thoughts about them and whether or not I think you should read them, and so here it is. And I'm gonna be slightly busier soon, so I just figure let me get it done now. So the last one I made was January, February. The last one I made was January, February, March, all the books I had read in those 3 months, and I had been planning to do like from then on each month because I thought I would be reading more, and technically I have been, but it's also not as much as I thought I would be. So then I thought, okay, when it got to June and I still hadn't made a book video, I was like, okay, I'll do the next 3 months, I'll do April, May, June. But then I didn't do one, and then July came and went, and I did not read enough in July, and I'm just gonna do those 4 months. So this is everything that I read in April, May, June, and July. So on April 1st, I started reading Finale. As you can see, though, I'm like almost halfway through it, but I haven't finished just because I got, in April, this was towards the end of my student teaching, and I was so stressed out with, you know, my big projects and reports and just all of that coming to an end, and graduation and leaving the sorority, and just everything felt like a lot. And sometimes I get really overwhelmed when I'm reading fantasy books, and I just think because life was already so overwhelming, this was not the move. But I do want to finish this before I go back to work, and I go back to work Thursday, so I'll probably read it tomorrow or Tuesday. So yeah, I'm not done with it. I did start reading it. I will say, as far as the series goes, because I've talked about the first 2 books, which are Caraval and Legendary, it's fantasy, and it's these 2 sisters, and it kind of feels like Alice in Wonderland circusy, like that's the vibes of the books. I will say that so far the first book was my favorite just because it follows the sister that I like and relate with more. This one follows them both, so it's a little better than the second book that was just about Donatella, but I would say it's a pretty okay series. I know Shelby's read it, but Issa, if you are looking for a fantasy series, you might like it. Let me see if I'm doing this correctly, because some of the books I don't have physical copies, and I have my Notion reading tracker with all the days here. Okay, so yes, next we're gonna go into my summer review. It's the 3rd volume. This manga is so cute. I highly recommend. Oh my god. I love the characters. They make me laugh. These characters, I love them. I talked about them in the last book video because I had read the first 2 volumes, and this is the last and final volume. At least I'm pretty sure it's the final volume. Pretty sure there's nothing after this. But yeah, I love it, and super cute. I in fact loved it so much that I ended up getting another manga by the same author, but we'll talk about that later. Highly recommend though. So cute. I definitely talked about the premises of the book series more in the other video, and I feel like just go back there if you forgot, because yeah. In the first 2 volumes they're in high school. This one is they're in college, and it's a little bit more of them growing up, and I really love their story. So next up, where am I gonna put the book? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna drop. Alright, next up, actually, after I finished that one, I was wanting some more BL manga because I just love their story so much. But I was here at Willa's house and could not leave, and I saw that Naomi had left some of hers here from when she stayed here before she left, and then I started staying here. So I read this series. Wait. I read this series of books. Okay, wait. But I also thought they were so cute. I will say I will say it was a little awkward though. It was awky-chalky because they're roommates, okay? So they're in high school and they're roommates. So I did find the series really cute and a little funny, but I also did have a little bit of a problem because, okay, so here are our main characters, and it's Hirano and Kagura, which I really hope I'm saying correctly. And Kagura, over here, dark haired one, the one with the black hair, really likes Hirano, blondie hair. Hirano is older though, he's a year older, but they're roommates. And so that is one aspect of it all. And then the other aspect is he's in love with him. He wants to marry him. He's like, oh my god, we're perfect together, soulmates, da da da. And he's just like, first of all, he doesn't know for a while. And then he's like, oh. And so it's just interesting. But in the beginning, I did feel a little uncomfortable with it because it's definitely like him trying to get him to have feelings for him. And I was like, okay, well, we're not gonna try to force things, but I do think that it kind of comes around. But I will say that I was kind of a little bit like, is this right? Is this okay? A little bit. But yeah, I think by the end of the series, it's way less murky, and definitely less murky than some other books where I've read where I'm just like, this is ridiculous and like not okay. I just think he actually, the best way I can describe this to you is he knows how he feels and he knows whom he is attractive to, and he does not know yet, and he's trying to figure that out. So I just felt sometimes maybe he was pushing a little too hard. So I would say that is the most accurate depiction of like why I felt uncomfortable. There's also a fourth volume to this that I did read, but I read that one online because Naomi didn't have it, so I got it online. So yeah, I would give this probably a three stars just because of how uncomfortable I felt when he was still trying to figure out how he was feeling, and he was like, I love you, we should be together, and he was like, like I need to, this is like a really big change that I'm going through right now and I need some time. But they do really care about each other, I will say that. The whole entire time they care about each other so much, and they're always looking after each other and trying to take care of each other, and it becomes like a thing in the book where it's like, I want to take care of you, and then I want you to take care of me, and it's just like a whole thing. But yeah, I read these, and that was Jess. So after the 4 volumes, because remember there's another one, after those 4 volumes I read the second manga by the first author, Nagasiwi Furuya, which I really hope I'm saying right, called My Ultramarine Sky, and this one was way shorter. Unless the author publishes another one, it's a standalone to my knowledge, at least for now. And in the same vein, I don't know, I just, you know what it is? That month of April was so stressful for me. It was so stressful for me that I was just like, I'm just gonna read just like really cutesy BL manga. I was just like, you know what, this is what I need in this moment right now. I need just to feel light and just to laugh and giggle, be like, oh my god, this is so cute, and that's what I needed. Okay, I cannot tell you how stressed out I was. I literally, I was like mental breakdowns all the time. I was like crying and stressed, and my eyes were red, and I literally wrote an 100+ document. 100, it was like, how many pages was it? Honestly, it's crazy that I can't tell you how many pages it was, but that's because of how, like, I blacked it out, I think. Like, on the one hand, I feel like I should be able to tell you because of how hellish it was for me and how I felt like, oh my god, I'll never forget this, but also I think that I needed to wipe it from my brain because it caused me so much stress. This one was really cute. It also takes place in well, actually it takes place over a while because they technically have known each other since middle school, and then they go to high school with each other. They've always been in the same class with each other since middle school, and then they go to high school, and they go to the same high school, but now they're not in the same class anymore, and so they're kind of like drifting, and they've been best friends. And it's really interesting too because in their friend group, it's like a thing that they like act like BL romance. Like the two of them will just like pretend like they're in like a BL manga, but it's like so crazy too because you're reading a BL manga where they're pretending as if they were like characters in a BL manga, and I was like, oh my god, what in the I was like, what in the world? Characters are Kai and Ren, and basically Kai knows, he knows how he feels about Ren. He's like, this is more than a friend. well, obviously they're best friends, but he has feelings for him as well, and Ren is like not thinking that. But it is known in their friend group that Ren is different with Kai than with anybody else, and like that kind of like sets it up where he just is so much more comfortable and he smiles more and is so much more willing to be social and to do things with others if Kai is doing it as well. And it's just like wherever Kai is, that's where Ren wants to be. And actually you see that in some of the choices he makes, and I do think that they were really cute, and so I would also recommend this. Yeah, all of these were just like fun, light, fluffy reads that I was just like, I just need to be here right now and not anywhere else, not thinking about the reality of graduation and post-grad life. And they were a really good distraction for me. I will say that they brought my mood up so high when I was in the dumps, when I was in the trenches. So yeah, I would give this probably a 4 stars. Yeah, I do wish maybe it would have been longer. I did feel like it was short, and I wish that there would have been more. I think especially because my summer review has 3 volumes, I was like hoping for that amount of content in their story. But you know what? It was good. So moving on to a book that I read on the Kindle called You Have My Heart. I'm gonna put a picture of it here. This is a hockey romance, and I love a good hockey romance, as you well know. It was interesting because it did have a trope that I famously hate, and that is why this is something that I have coined, and is why is it always brothers? Because it's one thing to have a love triangle, and it's another thing for in that triangle for there to be 2 brothers or sisters, except for I've never seen it really where it's sisters. I've pretty much only seen it be brothers. And I'm just like, why? To me, it's so unrealistic because I have a sister, or maybe it's because it's boys, because I don't know. I feel like this would not happen with girls, or at least I could never do this to Naomi. I know Naomi would never do this to me, and I just don't see us. We've got such different types anyway. Like, we would not go after the same guy. And if I saw her going after a guy that she really felt that she had a deep connection with and liked, then I wouldn't. And so it's just really, it's just really weird. But it was hockey, and it was like the good golden retriever brother and like the moody like black cat brother, and it was so interesting. I can read some notes from the Kindle because I definitely made notes when I was reading this book, and I remember being so frustrated because like I said, when it's brothers, it just it puts me in a whole headspace of like, but why are they brothers though? Like, okay, wait, let me go to my notes, my annotations. And I think I did start liking out the golden retriever brother more, but by the end I was on team black cat brother. So it was like, it's like Vampire Diaries, when you start out liking Stefan and then at the end you're like, oh my god, but Damon. Oh my god, yes. Okay, it was super cliche. I remember writing that throughout the whole book. So literally page 10 I put, this is going to be so cliche, I can already tell 2 pages in, and that's telling. Page 11, I was so right, oh my god, and now it's even more cliche. So if in 1 page I was like, I'm right, and it's so much worse than I thought. And then I said, mom's best friend's son's hello kissing booth. Oh yeah, because their moms are best friends. The female main character and the 2 brothers, their moms are best friends. And I remember thinking, okay, kissing booth, I see you. And also, if you think about it, okay, the summer I turned pretty, I see you. Also in cliche, also on the same page, I said, I don't know how I'll make it if every page is this cliche. And I did make it, but it was rough at points. And then also on the same page, okay, cliche, good brother slash bad brother, golden retriever slash black cat. So that was established like super early on. And then I said, she did, oh, okay. So then she did say Damon and Stefan were an inspiration, so there was forewarning, I guess. Okay, yeah, so I totally didn't remember that until now, but it's a little funny that I instinctively went to, that must have been living there in the back of my head. Oh, one of the characters was named after somebody that I know and had been spending a lot of time with at this time, so it was really funny, and I was like, not so-and-so. And it was made clear in the beginning that she's a reader, you know, so I was like going off, like, you know, I feel like that is a very cliche thing. Not that I don't love it, but I think sometimes it's done and not, Not that I don't love the cliche, but I do think sometimes it's done in a way where it's like too cheesy, you know, like it's too on the nose, and I felt like it was done like that here. But the bad boy brother makes a reference to Pride and Prejudice, and I'm like, oh, this is a clear setup for later when we find out that he also reads and is like actually really intellectual, which is exactly what happens. And so it was just, I will say, reading the book, I was never surprised by anything that happened. Everything that happened, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I could see this coming from like 10 miles away. Let's see what other notes I made. Oh, I remember finding her a little annoying. I said, I don't know how to feel about her. On one hand, low-key mood, but on the other hand, she is kind of annoying. Because like I said, she's a reader, so it definitely, I feel like whenever I read characters like that, I instinctively feel a connection to them because I also am a reader, and so you're just like, oh my god. But then sometimes it can be like, when there's other things to consider that aren't just like, oh, they read, when there's other parts of their personality that are perhaps not enjoyable, then it kind of takes away from that. Oh, it's the whole book is like switching POV, so you get her POV and you get the POV of both brothers, which I thought was pretty cool. I said, oh, okay, so we're switching POVs. Honestly, thank God. This way I know what the boys are thinking and I don't have to spend so much time in Sawyer's head. Now let's see if I like the guys or not. Okay, wait, I don't want to like ruin so much, but more cliches, and also I was seeing parallels between other books. Yeah, almost all of my notes are just like, this is so cliche, and I'm just like, even, it felt like even the characters know it's cliche, and I wrote that too. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I wouldn't recommend it unless the other person also liked a hockey romance. Not that hockey is like super duper prevalent. Actually, maybe I might recommend it, but like only to certain people. I don't know that I would recommend it. I guess it's 50-50. Like, read at your own risk. Know that it's super cliche. Know that it's super predictable. Both brothers have some pretty good moments. In the end, I did end up rooting for the bad boy brother. So if you do read it, tell me which brother you ended up rooting for and let me know. There's another book, a sequel coming out that I will read. Even though I thought it was cliche and super predictable, I will be reading the sequel because I want to know what happens and which brother she ultimately ends up picking. I have my theories, but yeah. After reading You Have My Heart, by the way, You Have My Heart is spelled H-R-T because that's the boy's last name. Like the brothers, their last name is Hart. H-A-R-T. So